what is true. In the sea of information and misinformation being spread in our world right now, it can be hard to know. But in this sea of information, I want to caution us. I've seen so many people sharing what is doubtful, what is questionable. And I want to caution us as Christians because when we share facts that are questionable, people will question all of the facts that we share. When our facts are doubtful, our witness is diminished. And we as Christians are witnesses of good news. There is good news worth sharing, worth celebrating each and every day, and we want this news to be accepted as truth because it is. Jesus told his disciples to be wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. And Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 10, verse 5, he says, "We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, sharing things that may not be true, things that are questionable, debatable, set themselves up against people's knowing God." We are here to share the good news of God's word that is always true, not the doubtful news of YouTube that might be true. You see, we have something bigger at stake. Eternity hangs in the balance, and we have an opportunity to share what is true and what is right and what is good. You see, God's word says this, as Paul writes to the Colossians, he says, don't be deceived by fine-sounding arguments. There's a lot of things out there that sound good, but just because they sound good doesn't mean they are true. Paul goes on to say this to Timothy. He says, prevent these people from spreading these myths, these lies, these things that are conjecture, these things that are controversial in church. And here's why. They promote controversies rather than God's work, which is by faith. Our goal as Christians is not to promote controversy, but to promote God's work, to promote people knowing Christ. We are here to be heralds of the good news, not the controversial, debatable, or questionable news. And so I want to caution us as Christians, be careful what it is that you stand for. Be careful what it is that you declare is truth, because when you declare things that are questionable, people will question everything you declare. God's word goes on to say this. Those things that are of opinions, Paul writes, he says, the goal of this command to stop these debates, these arguments that really aren't going anywhere. The goal of this command is love, which comes from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. Some have wandered away from these and turned to meaningless talk. There is meaningless talk that does not last, that is not significant in the long term of things. We as Christians need to live our lives oriented around, based on that which is true, not that which is debatable or questionable or popular to talk about right now. Philippians 4:8 says this, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. I want to challenge us as Christians. When our credibility is doubtful, our witness is diminished. So let us make sure that what we declare as true is not debatable, that we've done our due diligence, that we've dug into the sources, that we've done our homework, and that if we're going to be known for anything, it is known for people who will only declare and only stand upon and only promote and push that which is true, because the truth of the gospel, the good news, is the most important news. And I cannot encourage anyone as a Christian to damage their credibility, because their witness in this world will be diminished. And we are living for something far more valuable, something that lasts, the good news of God's word.